This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Monday, August 17th, 2015, The Republicans Against Retirement. Now, Bernie Sanders was at the Iowa fair, and one of the things he said when he did his little stump thing was congratulate Social Security for its 80th birthday. Many of you don't recall, and neither do I, but at the time that Social Security was being enacted, there were one of the reasons is that the elderly were suffering from the worst. Were exceptionally poor because, you see, there was no retirement plan before then, and so no one could ever retire, and if they did retire, they were obviously, or had to retire, they had absolutely no money. So it was an anti-poverty program that has proven to be exceptionally popular over the last 80 years. But all of the GOP candidates who are running right now have clearly indicated that they are not in favor of Social Security, and they're going to either want to get rid of it completely or they want to do it in drips and drabs. One way the drips and drabs is to increase the retirement age. And Dr. Krugman aptly points out that one other thing about the Republicans and them wanting to get rid of Social Security is, one, they are for the least amount of government possible, and they don't think that the government should be involved in this, and that anything that legitimizes the U.S. federal government in Republican eyes is bad, and we need to get rid of it. That's what I would call not un-American. I would say that they are not looking out for the best interests of all Americans. They're only looking out for their own best interests. Now remember, there was a recent president, I believe his name was George Bush, who in 2005 talked about how he had gotten political capital when he defeated Kerry, and he was going to use it. And what was the first thing that he did? He tried to get rid of Social Security. He wanted to bring in, I don't even know what the heck of the term of it is, something different than Social Security. He got laughed at, and it fell to an early death quite quickly. I think they would be similar to medical accounts. You'd have your own retirement account based, right from whenever. Oh, he was going to open up Social Security so that those titans of finance, could invest your money so that you could make more money, so that you could be as poor as possible when you got because they take all their money off the top anyway. But George W. Bush tried to get rid of Social Security. That was 10 years ago. Absolutely nothing happened on that at all. It is bad policy. It was bad policy 10 years ago to try and get rid of Social Security. It's been bad policy for the last 80 years to try and get rid of Social Security. Even Dwight Eisenhower said that we need to accept things like Social Security, even though he was a Republican. But the Republicans continually want to get rid of Social Security. Now remember that basically for the lower half of the people in Social Security, that lower half, many of them have jobs that involve physical manual labor. Just imagine a nurse who has to be on their feet. They make money, but they don't make great money. They're going to be on their feet for 30 or 40 years, 7-8 hours a day. All right, that could wear on them quite a bit. They need a good retirement because they may not be able to do that type of work in retirement if they even get a chance to retire. But the point is that people in the lower half of the economic spectrum need Social Security because a lot of them do physical manual labor, and their life expectancy is a lot less than other people's, especially our white upper middle class people's. So why are the Republicans doing this? Why are they doing it? Not only are they saying that we should raise the retirement age, they're saying that Social Security is financially unsound. And it's not on the greatest ground right now, but it could be easily corrected in a number of different ways. And it is extremely popular. Remember, Ronald Reagan made a pact with Tip O'Neill in the early 80s to secure Social Security up till now. And it could easily be done if the Republicans are willing to do it. But remember, they won't raise taxes. They won't allow anything to affect any type of taxes whatsoever, whether or not it is good for the American people or not. And why is that? And because big money, big families dominate. Now, there have been plenty of studies have been done recently that clearly indicate that rich people think completely different than the average working person, etc. And they all believe that they are better people, that they are morally superior to the people underneath them. And even though a vast majority of people in the United States believe that Social Security should be enhanced, the vast majority of rich people in the United States, by an even greater percentage, want to get rid of Social Security. And why is that? It's because their taxes are going to pay for the have-nots. They're the haves. The rest of the people are the have-nots. They want to keep as much of their money as possible. And this whole concept of what entitlement is, it should never be referred to as an entitlement. This is money that is saved by Americans through their government to provide for them later in life. It is an earned benefit, and that's what it should be referred to as. Now remember, so the rich have a lot of money. They don't want to pay their money in taxes. They feel that people who need Social Security are morally deficient. They're not as good as them, and if they ever wanted to be as good as them, all they had to do was work as hard as them, etc., etc. And they are actively courting all of the Republican candidates. This 130 families, this very, very small segment of the population is courting the Republicans to get rid of Social Security. And that is their premise. That's what they want to do. And so what we have here in this upcoming election is Republican candidates who are being, let's just use the term, bought by the rich families of the United States to try and get rid of something that helps the vast majority of Americans have some type of a decent income at the later stages of their life. And again, remember I said how the rich think that they are morally superior to those have-nots. When you're thinking like that, I would consider that not considering to enhance Social Security actually, is morally wrong, that it is a sin. But our Republican friends will mishmash this whole thing into a whole soup of gobbledygook. But we need to increase Social Security, and we need to call out the Republicans on that right away.